Hi, I'm Ma, and I'm here to talk to you about books with autistic representation that I've read this year. The first book I'm going to talk about is The Matchbox Girl by Alice Jolly. This is set during the Second World War in Austria. The narrative in this book is entirely written in the voice of the main character, a non-speaking autistic girl. I know some people who read this book found the way it was written in this character's inner monologue kind of hard to follow. I found that it really worked for me. It was really immersive. And there's other people I know who struggled with it to start with, but by the end of the book, they were very used to it and they were very used to hearing everything through her voice. I enjoyed this representation of autism. I feel like it was relatable in terms of the form of the inner monologue, especially. Obviously, I don't agree with everything this character thinks. There's some pretty awful things she says about some of the other kids at the hospital that she's at. But also, characters representing autism don't have to be perfect. We're not perfect, we're all very different, and it just introduced an element of realism to the story for me. Next up, we have Ellie and the Harpmaker, which is a contemporary romance by Hazel Pryor. I got into Hazel Pryor because I was doing HRCYED 2, and I wanted to get the bonus points for reading a book set in Antarctica. So I read Away with the Penguins, which is called, I think, How the Penguin Saved Veronica, is the US title. I really enjoyed that, and it made me want to read some of her backlist titles. This is the story of a semi-isolated harpmaker and Ellie, a housewife who's feeling unfulfilled and wants to learn to play the harp. I can't remember the name of the harpmaker character, but he's autistic, and I love the way that it talked about his experiences growing up. It was very difficult to read at times because he really wasn't supported and accepted for who he was. They didn't name it as autism in the book, but to me, it's more of a full representation than some other books where you get an autistic coded character that's just kind of socially awkward, whereas he was talking about the distress he feels and the way he expresses that distress, and also flapping and vocalizing when happy. I just thought it was a much fuller representation of autism, even if they didn't use that word in relation to that character. Finally, I recently read A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandanna. I really loved this book. I thought it was just perfect escapism. It's a contemporary fantasy romance, and there's a child who is autistic in this book. And I really loved the character, and I really loved the way the adults in her life related to her, interacted with her, advocated for her. It was just a beautiful representation of an autistic child and just someone being fully accepted and loved for who they are and having the freedom to sort of express herself in her own autistic way, learn in her own autistic way. It was just really refreshing to read that as part of this story that isn't about autism specifically. I hope you enjoyed hearing about these 3 recent autistic character reads. Let me know in the comments your favourite books with autistic representation. I'd love to hear them. Bye. I'm Ma, and I'm here to talk in Germany.